Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button if you guys are enjoying the content that we're throwing up. And make sure you guys hit the like button if you enjoy the video. And yeah, let's begin. Okay, so for those of you guys who are fans of The Boys, those videos are coming out later on today, so don't worry, I'm not gonna leave you guys hanging on that. The big thing about this, the big announcement that I have to make here, we are at almost 10,000 subscribers on my personal Instagram account at @IamRobJefferson. At the time that we're recording, I think we're at like 9,960 something. So once we cross 10K, I'm gonna give away 5 RobCore rings, 1 RobCore ring every day over the course of 5 days. If you want to win one, then go to my personal Instagram account, follow it, and keep an eye on it, because what I'll do is I'll drop a video that basically tells you exactly what it is that I'm going to do and how it is that you can win one of those rings. Having said that, for those of you guys who are on Patreon for the RobCore rings, there's going to be a video for you there. So don't worry, like, you guys are all going to be sorted out. Don't worry, I'm not going to leave you guys all hanging and everything. I think you guys are really going to like what it is that you hear. But in this video, we're picking up with the battle between Adam Brashear, the Blue Marvel, and Hyperion. Now, here's the thing, right? Because I was kind of on the fence about this before. I was like, maybe we should do this, maybe we shouldn't, but we're going to. And the reason why is because you guys really seem to love Adam Brashear, right? Like, you guys love the Blue Marvel. I don't really know why. Honestly, there are times when I make videos on my channel, I don't even really care whether or not the video performs. I just do it because I like it, right? I don't even really care about the views. I'm just like, it'd be cool, and so I'm gonna do it. It's the reason why I'm doing the Boys. The video performs terribly on my YouTube channel, but I love the videos. I love that story, so I love recording it. But here's the thing. All right, so this is actually a short story, right? This is not a full comic book, so it's not like 22 pages. Instead, this is more like 8 pages. And the reason why is because this comes out of something called the Age of Heroes. Now, for those of you guys who are familiar with Marvel's heroic age, bear with me for a second, right? Because I know a lot of you guys have been reading Marvel for a long time, and a lot of you guys are really aware of this, but this is more for the new fans. So we've talked a whole bunch of times about how, like, Joe Quesada took over Marvel in the early 2000s as the chief creative officer and gave us stories like House of M and Spider-Man One More Day and like Avengers Disassembled, things like that. It was designed to kind of be this grand reshuffling of Marvel, right? And it worked for the most part. I mean, I guess with the exception of Spider-Man, fans are still kind of angry about that, but for most everything else, it worked exceedingly well. But the idea was, once this whole reshuffling was done, then it was time to go back into being heroes again, right? So that's why everything kind of got really dark. You went into Dark Reign with Norman Osborn and all that kind of cool stuff. The heroic age followed all that. So that was an initiative that came out in 2010, 2011, and it was basically the heroes going back to being heroes as they were really in like the classic era of comics, right? So it's one of those things where it's like this great big huge 10-year-long epic that was really kind of spearheaded by Joe Quesada that got to the heroic age. What Marvel did in turn is they released 4 one-shots called the Age of Heroes, and these are basically just mini-series about characters who otherwise wouldn't have gotten a normal book, and Adam Brashear was one of them. So what this does is immediately come hot off the heels of Adam, the Legend of Blue Marvel. So those of you guys who read his original story by Kevin Grevioux, this immediately comes directly after that. Not like the next day, but in terms of, chronology. And what it does is it basically picks up in the Mariana Trench, which is where Blue Marvel operates out of, right? That's his base of operations, more or less. And he's actually being visited by Uatu the Watcher. And the reason why is because Adam Brashear is stuck in a conflict, right? With everything that happened after the Legend of Blue Marvel and the fact that he returned essentially to be a superhero, the question is, like, is this a superhero landscape? And his idea is really kind of looking around and saying everybody's afraid of heroes. Now, this is designed to be both metatextual as well as in comic book continuity, right? When I say meta, I mean, like, it's really Adam Brashear kind of referencing the publication history of Marvel for the 10 years that kind of led up to this, as well as the in continuity landscape, right? In the in continuity landscape, this is basically a place where everybody is afraid of heroes. Like, you literally had Avengers Disassembled, so Tony Stark basically appeared before the United Nations drunk, although it ended up being that it was a Scarlet Witch who manipulated his mind into appearing that way. The Scarlet Witch then turned around and launched a massive assault against Avengers Mansion. Hawkeye died, right? So that was like the whole of New York was freaking out over that. Then you go into the events of House of M, where 98% of the mutant population loses their powers. I mean, you have like a lot of these really dark stories. And so the result is that humanity doesn't really trust superheroes. But the response of Uatu is yes, but like, you are a unique person. Like, you're unique insofar as you don't have the same kind of powers, or at least the same kind of basis as anybody else. You're literally a one-man wrecking crew, right? Like, you're powered by antimatter energy. Now, to give you guys some perspective on this, to kind of give you guys an understanding of this, basically, imagine, like, a lot of you guys have probably heard of the negative zone, right? The negative zone is this dimension that's basically antimatter, right? The opposite of positive matter, meaning that if positive and antimatter hit, it would create like this kind of explosive reaction. Imagine that there was a portal that led to the negative zone. And imagine out of that portal was just energy constantly flowing out. And imagine all that energy was entering into Adam Brashear. That's basically what he is. He channels antimatter energy. Long story short, Adam Brashear is powered by the energy of a universe, of like an entire universe. That's basically how powerful this guy is. And that's the reason why Uwatch the Watcher says you single-handedly have the ability to change the way that humanity views superheroes, one, because of your story, and two, because of the power that you possess. The issue with that is that in the middle of all this, what you end up having is basically all these, these guys who were essentially taken out by Hyperion, right? By King Hyperion, who's just kind of appeared here. It's out here in Uzbekistan. And now it's kind of interesting because what he's doing is facing off against the Winter Guard. The Winter Guard suck. All right, let's just be honest with ourselves. Nobody out there believes the Winter Guard is a great team and they're capable. They're Russia's superhero team. They're awful. But one of the things that goes on here is that the system of Adam Brashear identifies King Hyperion as I guess a level 12 threat. Now, the reason why this matters is because in Marvel Comics, you have different measuring systems that kind of determine the threat level of a particular person or team, right? In the mutant population, you have Omega level and beyond Omega level. In terms of SHIELD and government depictions, you have Omega level threats, right? And then with Adam Brashear, it's just threat level. It's just kind of straightforward, right? Now, the fact that Hyperion is depicted as a level 12 threat means he's a threat of the highest caliber. So of course, Adam Brashear races off and Adam Brashear goes to fight the guy. Now, the thing about this is that as soon as they get to Uzbekistan, you get this explanation of what it is that's going on with King Hyperion. But the funny thing about this is that unless you read Exiles, you only get part of the picture here, right? Like you only really get part of the story. And the reason why that matters is because King Hyperion, this is not his first appearance in Marvel Comics. King Hyperion appeared as part of the Exile storyline for quite some time. And the way this played out here, by virtue of what Kevin Grevioux says here, as well as what was revealed in Exiles, I think it was like issues 43 running all the way up to like 65 or something like that, is that basically in an alternate reality, Hyperion essentially rose up and then like tried to conquer the world. And all the various superheroes across the world ended up facing off against Hyperion and he killed them all. Like he killed every single one of Earth's superheroes. It was never really confirmed, it's just kind of what he said. He also killed Galactus in that universe. And so following that, over time, he ended up joining a group called Weapon X. Now, this is not the same Weapon X from like the main Marvel universe, right? The group that like produced Wolverine and so on and so forth. Instead, this was kind of a team that was the antithesis to the Exiles, insofar as the Weapon X group under the rule of King Hyperion, which also included like Miss Marvel, included Spider-Man, so on and so forth, these alternate reality versions of their characters would travel from one universe to the next and conquer those worlds. So like conquer various versions of Earth, destroy the superheroes on them, or force them to work for their cause, whatever the case was. And this is just the most recent iteration. This is where he shows up here. And so it's kind of a cool thing because this guy, King Hyperion, is insanely powerful, right? Like powerful enough to kill Galactus, which is kind of a big thing. And that becomes important here in a second. The reason why is because as soon as Blue Marvel shows up and confronts King Hyperion, the first thing he says is, I've killed you on countless worlds, right? Like you're nothing new to me. I've destroyed you on multiple worlds, multiple times before. I'm not worried about you. And the funny thing about it is that Blue Marvel's kind of holding back here. And the reason why is because there's all these innocent people around here, different things like that. But of course, King Hyperion keeps coming onto the offensive. And the other half of this is that Blue Marvel's kind of struggling with the fact of like, I don't want to scare the people who are here, right? Like, I don't want to scare them here. But what he ends up doing is coming to this realization that the reality of what it means to be a superhero is that in the beginning, people will be scared because you're showing up to a place where they've never really seen superheroes before, right? It's one of the things that he says here is these people here are scared because there are places on Earth where they have no superheroes. There's no superheroes to protect their country or anything like that. That most of the superheroes exist in like large metropolitan areas, right? I mean, they exist in like San Francisco or they exist in Los Angeles. They exist largely in New York, but for the most part, most of these people have only ever heard of superpowered beings and never actually came face to face with one. And that's the reason they're scared, not really because of the fact that Adam Brashear is dangerous or anything like that. And so understanding that and really kind of like reconciling it, what he ends up saying is like, okay, well, if that's the case, if at the end of the day, Hyperion would go through and kill everybody, then let's just end this quick, fast, and in a hurry. So literally in the span of like 3 hits, Blue Marvel's just like, bam, 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 King Hyperion's defeated. It's the quickest end ever. It's insane. I mean, look at this. Like they go charging at each other, right? So that's hit number 1. So I guess maybe 4 hits, but they go charging at each other and that's hit number 1. So then he uppercuts him, he punches him in the face, and then he smashes him into the ground. Done. So like 4 hits and King Hyperion is down. A guy who is powerful enough to kill Galactus is taken out in like 3 or 4 hits by Adam Brashear. He was so overpowered and broken. Man, let me tell you something. Dude, I love Adam Brashear. Dude, I love Blue Marvel. We need Blue Marvel in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And that's just the way it is, man, because you're talking about a guy who's this powerful, and then he's also super smart, right? He's got degrees in like theoretical physics and all that kind of stuff. I don't even know what that means. I don't even know what theoretical physics mean. Things that we think might exist, so we're gonna do science on things that we think might exist. Like, I don't understand that, man. Like, for me, you might as well tell me that you're doing science experiments on the possibilities that dragons are real. It's funny and it's wild to see Hyperion crushed so fast, so handedly by Blue Marvel, just crushed so readily. And so again, like that's really what it is, because following that, he kind of starts hopping and skipping through like a lot of these smaller towns that don't have any superheroes within their own country, right? I mean, you know, he goes to like Singapore, for example. Singapore has no superheroes. Ecuador doesn't really have superheroes. Paris doesn't really have superheroes. Of course, I don't know what French superheroes would do. I mean, they would probably just surrender as soon as a threat showed up, because that's what the French people do. But nonetheless, you know, it's kind of wild, right? It's a cool thing to see, and it's awesome to watch this whole thing go down. But that's basically where it ends, right? You know, it's almost like Kevin Grevioux kind of takes this page out of Superman Peace on Earth, where like Superman's traveling from one country to the next, trying to like, you know, basically improve things without like casting off dictators, killing people, different things like that. It's awesome to see. But this is basically how you transition from Blue Marvel in terms of where he was at the end of Adam, the Legend of Blue Marvel, into like the main Marvel universe. And then it goes forward from there and ultimately leads up to Ultimate. So it's a pretty cool little story here. Again, it's only like 8 or 9 pages long. It's not super lengthy. It's pretty short and it's pretty fast, but it is really, really, really cool. So with that being said, guys, we're gonna bring this video to an end. If you guys are new here to Comics Explained, make sure you guys hit the sub button to become part of the Rob Corps. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you drop a like, and I will catch you all later. Peace.